What's going on, guys? It's Marcus here with Discover Ignite. Today I have another book review for you guys. Yes, another book review. I do go through quite a few books during the year, and this particular book I've actually read before, and it was a very good book on memory, so I wanted to reread it. Now, the book I am talking about is Moonwalking with Einstein, and this book is written by Joshua Foer. And it is a phenomenal book on his journey, his unexpected journey from a scientific journalist into becoming a U.S. memory champion. Yes, he didn't think he could do it either. The thing is the story itself is absolutely phenomenal. It's his journey, right? He essentially went to cover these mental athletes, and to which in turn, they told him that in 1 year he could actually compete if he wanted to. And so he took it upon himself. He didn't think he could. He thought he had the average brain like everybody else. But come to realize that everybody's brain, even the mental athletes, have an average brain. There was nothing different from these mental athletes than the average person. It's just the way you absorb the numbers, the way you're actually trying to remember the numbers. And the nice thing about the book is it not only follows the storylines, so you're not just like, well, they're just throwing facts at me, because it's totally not that way. You're following Joshua's story throughout the whole book, and it gives good research, it gives good details onto how the brain is working, how the brain remembers things. And it actually goes into several techniques that he learns that actually help him memorize and become the U.S. mental champion. And there was actually a scene in the book where they're out in a bar, and that a game that they play, these mental athletes play, is just, trying to recite all these different numbers, these random numbers, and then if you recite the numbers, then you would have to run over and get a kiss on the cheek, and then you would have to come back, and then you would win the game. So nonetheless, it was kind of intriguing just to see these funny games from these mental athletes, right? And that's what they're called, as mental athletes, because they remember all these numbers in a matter of minutes, which is incredible and hard to wrap your brain around a lot of the times, because they're just like machines. It seems like a machine, but there's actually a process behind everything about just taking images and associating them with numbers and then grouping the numbers together, because your memory can only remember, depending on your memory, you can only remember like 5 to 7. Sometimes people are even good at 9, 10 different numbers individually, but if you can clump them together, then you can actually remember them much better. And so it goes through all those different things, and again, the techniques and stuff, which is really neat. And then again, it's not just facts, so you're getting a story which doesn't leave you feel like you're trying to force yourself through the book. So this book is definitely a phenomenal book, and if you want to know anything about memory, I would highly suggest this book. Now, as far as any cons for the book, I didn't really see any cons for the book. Like I said, if it was just a facts book, it might have been a little bit harder to get through, but considering it was following his story, following Joshua's story, and how he became the U.S. mental champion, it actually, kept your interest through the whole book. And then to throw in the facts, to throw in the techniques, was very well done. And again, you go through this book and you're like, man, I don't know if I want to read this book. It does, again, kind of start out slow, because, he's just a journalist, essentially, trying to cover these mental athletes. And he's like, well, this is going to be fun. And I mean, it's intriguing, right? Everybody is interested in memory and how it works. And so that's what he was doing, is trying to do research on these mental athletes, and then it just rolls into one thing to the next that he never thought he would be able to do. And so again, it's amazing. And actually, I've used some of the techniques in the book and trying to memorize stuff, and you do find it does help you memorize stuff a lot better, right? Especially like with names or something like that, if you can associate pictures, right? And then just try to make those pictures a lot more interesting, if you will. You don't just picture a particular thing. If you're picturing a person's name by Ted, right, you will try to remember their characteristics, right? So you kind of, if he has glasses on, his glasses are upside down or something like that, and then you just remember a bunch of different things about characteristics about that particular person, and it actually helps you memorize that person's name, because you can associate that name much easier with the image. So again, this book is phenomenal. I highly suggest anybody out there who just wants to, think that they don't have a good memory. You actually do. Everybody's memory is average, and that's what they found out through this book, is that even these mental athletes, all their memories are average. So you too can improve your memory. So again, pick this book up. Again, it's the book name escaped me there for a second, but it's Moonwalking with Einstein by Joshua Foer. So again, if you guys like this book review, smash that like button. Also, you guys can share this book review if you think someone would actually want to read this book. And again, I will see you guys on the next one.